Hello and welcome back. Today we're at the beautiful Thornton Manor to celebrate 1 year of the Tim Bush channel. I can't believe where the time's gone, but it was over 12 months ago we reviewed the beautiful Jaguar F-Type Coupe. So I needed something special to celebrate. A German manufacturer synonymous with performance, hailing from Stuttgart. Of course I'm talking about Porsche. The Cayman GT4 was introduced at the 2015 Geneva Motor Show alongside the 911 GT3 RS and was hailed as a more track-focused Cayman. Mid-engined rear-wheel drive with a limited slip diff and a 0 to 60 time of just 4.4 seconds. This combination gives this Porsche poise, balance and performance in bucket loads. A perfect road and track weapon. Brilliant! Our car looks like a stealth bomber, and I bet the owner wish it could come under radar detection, that's for sure, in lovely basalt black, resting on these absolutely gorgeous 20-inch bronze alloys with carbon fibre side intakes, a centre race stripe and gold decals. Stunning. Now, here's the really good news. If you're thinking of buying one of these, don't hesitate for a second, because it's a Porsche GT with outrageous residuals. So unless you're going to be driving to the moon and back every week, the price of this is always going to be more than what you paid for it. Brilliant! This GT4 was built in 2015 and has the phenomenal Porsche double clutch PDK auto gearbox. A rare addition to this GT4, normally only available as an option on the Club Sport package or later GT4Ss. Although if I'm honest, I was a little bit disappointed, as I do love an old school manual in a performance car, even though this PDK can change gear a lot faster than I can. I just love that mechanical feel, like you're more in tune with the car. But to be fair, a lot of drivers complained that the manual gearbox ratios were just too long. Nevertheless, I would still prefer the old school option. This car comes with Porsche's active suspension management system, and with the active dampers the car becomes as flat as a pancake and hugs the tarmac like a magnet. It really can carry a lot of speed through just about any corner. Now let's talk about the engine, because it really is a masterpiece. It's a slightly detuned version of the power plant from the 911 Carrera S. A 3.8 naturally aspirated flat 6 24 valve Boxster producing 380 galloping horses and topping out at 182 miles an hour. What a soundtrack it produces. It's basically Beethoven for petrol heads. Glorious! The GT4 is a fully fledged supercar. I could easily buy one over the 911. The Cayman GT4 is one of the most overlooked sports cars in the Porsche lineup, considering it offers the same 911 pedigree but at a much lower price. And yes, there is a GT4 RS now available, but it's nearly impossible to get one unless you know Porsche's CEO Oliver Bloom and have a Swiss bank account. This ain't for show. With Porsche, it's all about form and function. Flat out, this large rear spoiler adds nearly 130 kilograms of downforce. As a result, the GT4 can cover the famous Nürburgring in just 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Now that's impressive. So now it's time for the famous Tim Bush channel interview with current owner of this beautiful Cayman GT4, and it is Gary. Lovely to meet you, Gary.
Nice to meet you, Tim.
An absolutely beautiful car, mate. So I believe you haven't had it long, have you?
No, I've only had it approximately about 3 months now.
3 months. And what did you have previously to this?
I had a Porsche 911 Cabriolet.
Wow, and how long did you have that for?
I had that for 9 years.
9 years? I bet you got attached to that, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a very special car. Very special car.
Now it sounds obvious, but what made you go for the GT4?
As good as the 911 was, it was more of a cruising car with the hood down. This is more obviously a hard top, and it's a lot more track focused.
Oh, it's definitely track focused, so much so that I'm getting really excited about getting in the car and having a drive. Can we go for a spin?
Absolutely, mate, yeah.
Top man. Cheers, thank you. moving off, and the pared back nature of the car is pretty obvious really, as Porsche wants to keep the weight down as much as possible, so they stripped out or binned all the sound insulation, and you notice it in the car, but it's what you want. It's a Porsche GT car. You want it to sound like this. Lots of road noise, lots of growl from that beautiful flat six. Amazing. This car isn't one for your dentist, that's for sure. The car sits a full inch lower than the standard Cayman, and it has the underpinnings from the outstandingly good 911 GT3. These include oversized disc brakes, a reminder that this Cayman is without doubt a more track-focused car. Oh lordy, it's quick. I feel like virtually every one of my senses is being assaulted, but in a good way. That shrieking wail of that engine that spins to 8,000 revs is the vicious shove in the back when you stick your foot on the throttle. It's outrageous. Oh my God, it's tremendous. Wow. That's phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Never get bored of that, would you?
No, you don't need a car stereo in this car.
You wouldn't be able to hear it, mate, to be honest with you, would you?
Not really.
I'll tell you what, Gary, this is a phenomenal car, mate. It's got some serious performance. As soon as you put your foot on that throttle, man, it just wants to go, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Have you taken on any track days at all?
Yeah, I've just recently taken it on Three Sisters and Wigan, and also Open Park as well on a track day.
I love Open Park, it's one of my favourite tracks.
Yeah.
I actually come off there once, quite bad, at Cascades. You're not getting too worried, are you, behind the wheel, are you?
No, not at all. Yeah, I'm sure it's in safe hands.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to lift the throttle down again now. Just change down, back into third. Let's get the revs up a little bit. Let's get that engine singing again. Wow, phenomenal. Let's do a little change down. I love the way it flips the throttle for you as well.
Yeah,
it's lovely, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the steering, because it's really good. I mean, it's so direct, it just goes exactly where you want it to go. Nothing short of telepathic, if I'm being honest with you. It's absolutely amazing. So this car will flatter any driver, but you can turn all the traction control and stability control systems off and get this Cayman GT4 sideways. Of course, if you leave everything on, you still get a certain amount of slippage without the fear that it's going to bite you back. Listen to that. Wow. Porsche synonymous with their performance, and their GT cars are legendary. And this GT4, I must admit, it's one of the nicest ones I've driven. It's absolutely brilliant, mate.
Yeah, it's great.
Sticks to the road like glue. The suspension is firm, which is what I like, because I like a sports car. Okay, I haven't got the automatic gearbox though. I was a bit disappointed about on the video at the beginning. But to be fair, the PDK with these paddles instantly changes gear, and it blips the throttle when you change down with the paddles. And if you're on the track, you want your hands on the wheel anyway, don't you? Let's face it.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
And you can reach the paddles quite easily from the 10 to 2 position, which I like. And some of the paddle shifts aren't connected to the wheel. The paddle shifts on this car are connected to the wheel, which is where you need to be. If you're taking a sharp bend, I know you shouldn't be changing gear mid-bend, but at least if you're steering the car, you've got control of the gears, and I like that. You know, it's really cool.
Yeah, it is. It's very focused. Very much a driver's car, which Porsche are famous for, especially with the 911. But you can certainly feel this car when you're driving it, how focused it is for the track and the driver and the whole experience of driving this car.
Well, I'm glad you've taken on track days, because I know if I had the car, I'd spend most of my time driving it on the track as much as possible. I know it's not everybody's bag, track days, but basically if you bought this car and you didn't go on track days, you basically bought a firmer, harder riding, noisier car just to pose around, and that might be your bag, I suppose.
Yeah, and that's it. It's exactly right. This car was designed for the track, and if you own these kind of cars and you didn't take it on the track, you really wouldn't appreciate the car and what its full capability of.
It'd be bloody sacrilege, mate, if you didn't take this on the track.
Yeah, it would. So go on then, Tin, open it up.
Do you want me to open it up for you?
Open it up.
Okay, let's change down, let's drop it down with the paddles. Let's get the revs up. 4,000, 5,000, up into 4th. Let's pick up speed now, 90, 100, 110. Wow, tell you what, picks up speed so quickly. Let's test the brakes now. We're up to speed now. Let's test the brakes. Not literally, I hang on to your horses. the brakes are so powerful.
Yeah, they are,
Stops really well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it sounds obvious, you want it on a car like this. You want to be able to know that the thing stops as good as it goes, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So looking at the clocks in front of me, you've got the centre dial, the main dial, which is your rev counter, which is what you want in a performance car, especially something like this, a GT Porsche. On the right hand side, you've got a digital readout, which tells you the oil temperature, your battery condition, and of course the fuel gauge. And on the left hand side is your speedo. So it's all laid out, all easy to read, and right in front of you. Brilliant. So the car also comes with the classic Porsche Chrono Pack. So in the centre of the dash, I've got my lap timer, all ready for my wonderful time on the track. So another thing I've noticed, guys, these seats are lovely. They're comfortable.
Yeah.
And I know it's a GT car and it is firm, but they're really grippy in the seat. The Alcantara makes a difference to the drive, I think. Because I've driven some performance cars with full leather seats, and basically your arse is sliding everywhere.
Yeah.
And you don't want that, do you?
I think that was one of the things I found surprising when I first got behind this, is how comfy it was and how nice it was to drive. It can be subtle, but also be an animal. You know.
You just touch the throttle just for a second, and it just goes. It just launches straight away, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, and it just feels like it keeps on going as well. You know, it's just an amazing machine. And the good thing about with this being the PDK, you can't over rev it, where you can with a manual car. So that's one of the advantages to that as well. So even if you're too busy concentrating on the track that you're on and you over rev the car, it will change up should you need to if you forget.
If I was trying to tell this to my good lady, right, I'd sell it as a practical car. You're laughing now, aren't you? But it's got a pretty big boot, hasn't it? Because it's mid-engine, the car. So you've got a fair bit of storage. You could certainly go on a long tour in this car, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the front space is particularly big because it is a rear-wheel drive. You've got no axle going across, as some of the four-wheel drive Porsches are. So you've got a massive boot in the front, and then on the rear as well, you've got a smaller boot there and also a parcel shelf. So it's a really good car for weekends and touring, especially for a car that's track focused. There's not many that can boast that.
I tell you what, these country lanes are fantastic, aren't they? To take a car like this in, this is exactly what you want, and it's completely flat as a pancake. We're coming to a lovely bend here now, and it's just an absolute pleasure to take it around this bend and give it a good blip of the throttle, get the tail just twitching a little bit as we exit the corner. Fantastic. So the Porsche Cayman GT4, what an absolutely brilliant driver's car, just what I like. Obviously, many thanks for letting me use your car today.
My pleasure, Tim.
And entrusting me with your pride and joy. And like I say to everybody, only buy a hardcore car if you intend to do hardcore driving. Brilliant! Well, I've had a hoot behind the wheel of this outstanding driver's car, and a big shout out to Gary, the owner, for allowing us to film his beloved GT4. Don't forget to check out more great car reviews, including some fantastic classics, only on the Tim Bush channel. It's the future. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Many thanks.
You have been watching the fabulous Tim Bush channel.